Good day, humans. It is I, Trix, the Goblin of Mangas, and other such things. Today we're going to be talking about a manga that's been going on quite a long time. This manga has 2 series, it has a live action film, it has at least 1 spin-off, I think there is another one coming. But of course we're going to talk about Kaguya-sama, Love is War. Kaguya-sama, Love is War, or Kaguyasama Wants to Be Confessed to, is a manga by an artist known as Akasaka Aka. Now, Akasaka Aka has been writing this manga since 2015 in Miracle Jump and Shuukan Young Jump. It's licensed in English By Viz, which is one of the better licensing companies. And there is 20 volumes in English, I believe there's 21 or 22 in Japanese. And it has a whopping 237 chapters. This is a gigantic powerhouse of love comedy, but it's also different to mainstream love comedies in a big difference, and I'll bring that up slightly. This manga is the story of the student council of Shuukan High, or a rather exclusive high school where a lot of powerful, important people come. And Miyuki, the student council president, got there through his own, his studying needs. The backstory of Miyuki and why he wanted to study so hard is quite sad, because he wanted his mother to notice him, and his mother left him, his father and his younger sister Kei alone. During this time, he developed a rivalry with another student called Kaguya. Kaguya is the atypical tsundere character who goes from hatred or disgust to love over a year. We don't see this year, we see them as members of the student council, so we ignore all the build up and quote unquote nonsense events, and we just go straight into them trying to make each other fall in love with each other or confess to each other, hence the name. This is not the only 2 characters in this manga. This manga has a massive amount of side characters, but mainly focuses on the student council and their relatives. I want to pay important recognition of a character called Chika. Now, Chika is the atypical airhead girl whose parents are diplomats or politicians, and she seems to be able to get away with a lot more than the other students. Maybe because she's able to manipulate people, or maybe because she's just a strange character which in some ways is very naive, but in other ways is quite world experienced and hilarious. That's not the only character that I want to talk about. There is a lot of spin-off characters. For example, there's the 4 kings of ramen who periodically turn up as taxi drivers and other characters, sometimes interacting with the aforementioned Chika. Sometimes they're interacting with the other characters, such as Miyuki, in a taxi format. Ichigami is the student finance officer, or the treasurer of the student council, and his story is quite in-depth and quite sad in parts, but quite cathartic because he gets closure. A lot of people don't get closure in their lives of something they might have done bad, or something they did because they thought it was the right thing to do, but ultimately hurt them. Ishigami goes through a lot of stages, falling in love with an older student, having to deal with that student just basically wanting to be with him intimately as a thank you, rejecting it, trying to win her heart, failing, and going through stages of grief. Ishigami grows as a character very quickly, but not badly. It's not rushed, but it is done in between the main story of Kaguya and Miyuki's romance blossoming. Now, let's get to the core point of why I'm bringing this manga out. This manga has probably been mentioned by many people. It's got 2 anime series, as I've said. It's got Nova. It's got lots of things. It's even got a light novel. But that's not the reason why I want to bring it up. You see, love comedies can run out of steam after 50 or so chapters, recycling the same gag over and over again. Aka manages to tell a story which is still engaging after 237 chapters. Now, I did not like this manga in the beginning. It took me a couple of reads, especially those beginning chapters, because I'm not sure why. There was a little bit which was repetitive where he would go into describing the the school and the two main characters, and he would do that over and over again. I found that very distracting in the beginning, but after he stops doing that, the story seems to blossom and become something really, really powerful and great. But let's talk about the 200th-ish chapter, where they basically admit that they love each other and start going out. Normally, a manga would end then. Normally, a love comedy would end then, and we would get maybe a scene in the future, them being married. Or maybe a little chapter at the end, them meeting their classmates and explaining what happened to them very briefly. Love is War doesn't stop at that point. It takes the ball and runs with it. It introduces the friction between Kaguya's family and her position in society, where she's basically going to be married off as a pawn of the family, and Miyuki's passion to want to go to Stanford. These two paths cross each other and ultimately would cancel each other out. Kaguya forced to stay in Japan and being a pawn of her family, whereas Miyuki would be in America, experiencing a different way of life and a different existence, possibly growing apart from Kaguya. However, as time goes on, they determine and they express themselves together. And it doesn't do this scene in a lewd way. It does it in a way where you can understand what happened without seeing it. You can understand that they're taking it to this level because they know that they'll only may have this chance in life and it will never be repeated again. So when they do that, it's a little more impactful for having a scene at the end where someone might have a kid, or having a scene that's full of ecchi moments. Aka's writing is rather profound and it's rather beautiful in that way. Saying that, this manga's not going to be for everyone because there are chapters that are basically gag chapters which circumvent the serious parts of the story, which is great because this is a love comedy and you want comedy in a love comedy. You don't want drama or too much, which this manga does, again, expertly. But saying all this, I'm not sure how much longer this manga can continue to keep this up. Aka is also writing another manga about an idol girl, which I don't like. I don't like the style of it because I think that it's just focused too much on the drama. There's not enough, comedy in it. But that's each. If you like it, that's up to you. No harm in liking something that I don't like. I do recommend Love is War, but again, those first few chapters where he repeats himself in the beginning are rather distracting and rather off-putting. I'm glad that either someone told him to you don't need to do that after, the first couple of chapters, or you don't need to do it after the first chapter and maybe the 10th chapter to refresh people's memory, but he didn't do it again after about 5 or 6 chapters. So, as I said, I've been reading this for quite a while. I've quite enjoyed it, but I've also found some of the chapters rather annoying. It does bring in a lot of world building. For example, Miyuki's father, Papa Shigarane, becomes a VTuber and he becomes quite famous, but it just shows you the dark world of the internet in some respects as well. There is a last character which I haven't brought up because I find her quite irritating. Now it's obvious that she is being set up with Ishigami. This is of course Lino. Lino is the character that comes in as a hot-headed girl and wants to upset the status quo of the student council. Shirogane could have probably won the election without defending Lino, but he does. He takes a significant loss in the election, but retains his position as student council president. Doing so, Lino is the type of character that sees things in black and white. There's either good or the bad. There's right and there's wrong. There's justice and then there's injustice. And unfortunately, even though she grows as a character, she's still stuck in that rather boxed format. And that's probably why I don't like her. She's too straight-laced, and while a lot of comedy bounces off this fact, such as her poetry being really, really dark and gothic and rather introspective, I don't think she sees it that way. She sees it as just her writing things that she would never say out loud because she thinks they're not her. But yeah, there is a lot of other side characters, such as the newspaper club, which got their own spin-off. There's of course Chika, who we've brought up. The principal's quite a funny guy as well, because he keeps going around playing the universe's in-game version of Pokemon Go, rather than being the principal. But we don't see any other teachers apart from that. We very rarely see any other staff members, to be honest. We do see a couple of parents in one issue, and we see Ishigami's past, we see Kaguya's past, we see Shirogami's past, but not much of his yet. I think there is going to be quite a big thing coming up where his mother does return, and when she does, I think there's going to be a lot of, well, there's going to be some drama. Maybe there'll be some comedy, but there'll be some drama involved around his mother, because a lot of his wanting to be smarter was for a person who left, and when she returns, will he want that affection, or does he already have it from Kaguya and his sister and his father? But there we go. Those are just my thoughts on Kaguya-sama Love is War. I really liked it. Yeah. I thought it was a great read. It's probably one that I do keep up to date with, because, you know, you want to see how the characters get along, you want to see the story progress. It is in a bit of a weird phase at the moment where Lino is trying to get Ishigami to like her or something, but I really hope that they don't end up together, even though I've read a couple of fan fictions which did that well. I think it's too obvious, and I would prefer him to end up maybe either with nobody or with Chika or something like that. But that's just me. That's just my thoughts on the matter. You're free to disagree, no matter what you like. It's all cool here. So that's it. That's Love is War. That's my little talk about it. But read it if you want to. I do recommend it. But if you don't like love comedies, you probably won't like it. If you don't like, or if you like love comedies and you like them when they end, when they have a relationship, you won't like it because it's carrying on. Thank you all for watching. Do take care of yourselves, humans. And bye bye.